Okay, so lastly, but not leastly, for this particular section is all these other people we have here. Marilyn Granville, what did she do? Margaret Hamilton, Ray Johnson, there's Doug Engelbert right there. So let's just take a quick look at what did these people do. I actually used to have these just right there, but then I thought, nah, information changes, right? So we'll hit you out to uh, Wikipedia, which is a great resource. All right, so she was, if you haven't seen the movie, then you should. Hidden Figures, right? Hollywood always changes things. They want things to be more dramatic, and so they move people and places around to make the story actually interesting for us. But Evelyn Boyd Granville was the second African American woman to receive a PhD in mathematics, which is really cool. But beyond that, down here in her career, right here, she was moved to IBM as a computer programmer when IBM received a NASA contract. And so basically, the race to the moon, trying to get this going, computers played a big role in that because this was a big mind share thing, and a shift in what our society was doing. IBM was selling these big computers, but they went into, you know, well, as you already know because you watched the videos, so they went into different uses like payroll and banking and stuff like that. This was the first big use, in my opinion, in science, where basically they were like, we can't calculate the numbers that we need, like how to launch and how much power to get out of Earth's orbit and all that. And so she was a mathematician, and that's why she got hired. And then she became over the IBM system because she's smart. She learned how to program it and what to do with it. So she was a mathematician programmer, is what she was. And she really didn't receive the credit that she should have at the time because she was black. But at the same time, she was hired because she could do it. And that's really significant. Honestly, I'm sure it was significant in her life to be able to come forward and basically say, well, I'm black, but because I got the skills, right? They need me. And they did. They really, really needed her. So that's Evelyn. She was fantastic. There was a lot of women in the early days of computers, and it's seriously really, really, really important. Um, in these days, we don't get as many, which is unfortunate. And the people think that the reason why is because women are very social. They want to do more social things, and they think computers is not social, and so they just don't go into it, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of great minds out there and they just don't do anything. So here's another woman. She worked for NASA Apollo program, and she was Higher Order Software. She did this later, founded two software companies, Higher Order Software in 1976 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and she was a software engineer. And she actually was awarded, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama. And that is one thing that, regardless of how you feel about Barack Obama, there's a lot of things I did not like that he did as a president. But one of the great things that he did do is he asked for people to go out and look at who should have received this, but they never did get it, right? Because they weren't a man, because they weren't white. And this was one of those. She received in 2016 Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is what she's not military, so that's what she'd be awarded for leading to the development of onboard flight software for NASA's Apollo moon missions. So that's great that she got the opportunity to do that, and great that she finally got recognized for it as well. And so that was Margaret Hamilton. And then one other in here, Ray Johnson. Whoops, don't want to zoom in on that. Reynold B. Johnson. And so I had you go straight to his site because he's got a site out there. Anyway, so back in 1932, he created the electromechanical device that automatically graded pencil-marked multiple choice tests. That's fantastic. I used a system based off that before we really got total web-based for years, honestly. He actually, if we move down a little here, where he led a research team developing more efficient data storage and retrieval. So you can see where this is going. Look at that. That's a first hard disk, right? And so he worked at IBM for a while, and he can be considered one of the fathers, if not the father, of the hard disks. And of course, look at how massive they are, but how to record information on this magnetic media. And we're just barely moving out of that realm now, right? We're using flash memory in these kinds of phones. And that's going to be the new standard. But for storing huge volumes of information, this magnetic media is going to be around for a long time. In other words, those backup, it'll become like backup hard drives constantly, that we have terabytes and terabytes of storage that we're saving information from these smaller storages that are much faster. It's just fantastic. There's so many people out there. I mean, I'm only picking a few really to kind of highlight in this class, but there's so many people out there that have never received any real recognition for the foundational things that they did, which were just genius level foundational things. So I wanted to point out a few of them so you'd be able to, accurately answer the questions at the end of the unit for the reflections. But that's all for this particular unit, and I'll see you in the next unit.